Hello and welcome to Hazardous Endeavors.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Digital and Dice's actual play 5th edition D&D live stream.
Livestream.
Who learned polymorph?
Oh, this is Brian.
Yes, unfortunately, due to illness, Brian is not able to make it this evening, so the part of Wilf Tradewind will be played by a stuffed bear.
He's so soft.
Yeah. So he will, of course, be back next time. So until then, he may or may not pop into the chat, so make sure to say hello. But as we stand, this is the first episode of Season 2.
Oh my god, we're so 3D. It's like it's real life.
It's like you can see it coming right at you.
It's like it's coming right at me.
So we, if you tuned into the holiday special, you got your first glimpse of what our live streaming setup was going to be like, and luckily we are able to recreate it. Probably better, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hopefully.
No forgotten unmuting.
That's true.
Oh, that's right. We forgot to unmute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. Although I'm going to keep the background music off for now, and until I figure out how to do all that other stuff, it's pretty much just going to be us playing for now. I'll work out a way of doing some sort of background music, maybe tabletop audio or Sirenscape or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Fun.
Yeah, it'll be good times. So thank you for joining us. As for news, what we're going to be doing here just at the beginning of the show for the live stream, some of this is going to be cut out for the show itself that goes up on the iPods and the RSS and whatever. So those of you who are here catching the video on demand or catching us live, you get the, news part where we're actually going to talk about what's happening, what we're going to be doing, all that.
You get the full uncut.
Yes, indeed.
Edition.
Full uncut.
So first off, just wanted to say welcome to our to the live stream. We are going to be ignoring chat for the most part during the show, so we can keep in character and the role play and all that. But we will be checking it during intermission, which I believe if we start the game up at, we start at 6:30, 6:25-ish, we're probably going to be 7:15.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7:15-ish is when we're going to have our intermission, and we'll chat with people then. So if you have questions, we'll go back and read the backlog and all that. But yeah, it's a brand new year. We're trying out some new stuff. We're playing with things. So thanks for sticking with us. And hopefully everyone can hear us fine.
Yeah.
Does this camera make me look short?
I think I look taller because my camera is pointed
Chat,
slightly
am I short?
down. I don't know. Maybe if I adjust
Let's see.
that.
Co-hosts say yes.
Oh.
There we go.
Though
I think I'm pretty much the same as I was before.
Wait. Co-host says yes.
co-host says yes. Says yes, you're short.
Oh.
That's fair. That's entirely fair.
Brian's shorter.
For right now.
For right now, indeed. So, yeah, we're hoping you like the new format. We will be releasing each streamed episode as 2 downloadable episodes for the RSS, and those will be released weekly. So look forward to those releasing. Probably going to be releasing those Wednesdays, like I think I was doing before.
I don't know. You had the bus.
Yeah. I am, well, theoretically, I don't know.
You had one job.
One job.
I have one individual job.
Individual job.
Yeah.
Only this show. Only to talk into that mic.
Right. Yeah.
Good job.
If only it was that easy. So I think, podcast news wise, no. We just did our first show of the year. We're going to be doing this every other week. So tune in obviously today, the 14th, the 21st, etc. So every 2 weeks, you're going to have a live show. And every week, those will be broken up into those 2 episodes.
Where they sound better.
Yes. They will have some polishing, and I will be able to go in and make things sound a little bit better with some background music and what have you.
Well, they'll look better too because our faces won't be there.
Nope. Yeah.
This is what we're here for.
Oh.
Our voices need to be matched up to something.
Yeah, the little art down at the very bottom here.
Yeah,
yes,
right there.
That right there.
Yeah.
We're beautiful, by the way.
Yes. There's a link in the description down below on YouTube where you can find the link to Desurian's Twitter, where he is the pixel artist who made the pixel art for our overlay.
Yay, Desurian.
And the Lady
extremely
Crass
grateful.
put together the rest of it. Thankfully, everything's coming together. So, it's all good.
Woo!
I think we're pretty solid. Anyone have anything they want to say before we get started?
Probably want to. Do you want to talk about your new?
Oh, you're new.
Yeah, we can mention. So for those of you who might be interested, we have just announced the new show that we're going to be doing here on Digital and Dice, and that is called 6 Up Save. That is going to be releasing sometime, preferably, I don't know, maybe we'll do something before the end of the month.
End of February.
By the end of February, absolutely. But we're going to try to get some content out there, at least some live streaming.
Valentine's Day.
Right. And we're going to be doing some tabletop miniature gaming and wargaming. So Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40K. We're going to do some battle reports, probably some painting streams, kind of low key, just fun stuff. It's one of our hobbies, or at least it's one of the hobbies of several of the people involved in the show. And
Them.
Lady Crass, myself, Voiceover Brian, and whoever else we can rope into playing Mordheim sometimes, what have you. So we are going to be doing some more tabletop miniature stuff, and that's coming soon. We'll have some logos up. It'll be great. So definitely stay tuned if you're interested in that sort of thing, or if you just like us and want to see us do something else, that'll be a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
That's good. Aside from that, I think we're good.
Yep.
Also, this advertising for Diet Coke. We're not really advertising, but
Yes.
if you
You'll
want
see
to
this from me.
sponsor us Diet Coke, here we are.
I'll take sponsor from Subway.
Right? Yeah. We'll take whatever sponsorship we can get. So if you need a mattress, go to Catherine Mattress. If you want your food, get Blue Apron. We'll find one of these podcast sponsors, and that's where this will go. There'll be a sponsor spot. We'll do stuff at the beginning here. But again, that's for later.
And whatever place is sponsoring will just replace your face. with their
Yeah,
logo.
it'll be like right here, and yeah.
Oh, perfect. We don't need that. It'll be great.
So once again, thank you for being here. Thanks for showing up. And we will probably be, again, ignoring the chat right up until the intermission. So feel free to talk to us, talk amongst yourselves. We will join in when we can. But for now, dear Digidicers, I think it's the time we get started.
Woo! Let's do it.
All right. So where we last left our intrepid adventurers, I believe the holidays had a little bit in store for you where you learned the true meaning of the Winter's Feast.
Right.
Yeah. Or
That's what we learned.
Before that, I need to explain to you something. I am giving you the middle finger for re-killing
Yeah.
the Zugdug.
re-killing.
Re-killing the Zugdug.
I did no such thing. I believe you all had a hand in that.
He reanimated.
I merely presented to you a problem and you solved it with weapons.
What are we going to do? Put a collar on it and have a pet undead ogre? You know what? Next time, let's do that.
Okay, let me put it this way. In my defense, I would say that when I presented you an ogre for the first time, you turned it into a paladin. So
That was for good and for honor.
it's true. These things were great. But as we move forward in our current iteration of where you are at the beginning and opening of Season 2, you have spent some time in Kelenhall during the rebuilding. The town is starting to get back on its feet. The rebuilding of various broken down and destroyed buildings is fully underway. Some of them even being fully completed. Some businesses are back up to where they were before. And all of you have had a chance to rest and relax, to kind of go through the motions of feeling like you don't have anything pressing to do at that very moment. Which inherently means, more than likely, that Jaxom, you've been at the Church of Pelor, of the Dawn Father, doing charitable works, helping out, doing what you can.
Swore myself to a new oath.
Yes. And do you have an explanation as to what you would like to do with this, or how you would like to explain Jaxom's new oath? Or are you just going for
We're going for just vague at this point until I can actually think of something.
So what we will do then is we will say that upon your extermination of an old evil, or at least a new evil that was ready to form, you have sworn yourself not only to the protection of those who can no longer protect themselves, but to the eradication of the evil forcefully, if necessary.
Oh, dang.
Utilizing the power that Pelor has given you in the form of increased ability to use flame to your advantage. So your radiant heart is now part of your overall ability suite.
Ability suite.
Ability suite.
A suite of abilities.
Ability suite.
Yes.
Can I get the ability penthouse, please? What is the upcharge?
So, the Lindo, Lindo Espina, the beautiful Thorn,
That is me.
you have more than likely been bored out of your mind.
I have a ridiculous amount of money for a random traveler, and I would like to buy more clothes.
Okay. You become very popular, more popular than you were already with the local tailors.
I'm already popular with everybody.
Right. Now you're handing them a lot more money.
Huzzah!
Several new outfits were commissioned, and over the course of the last few weeks or so, they have been presenting you almost every other day with a brand new outfit. With, the red leathers with the gold stitching up the sides, with the symbol of the Dawn Guard embroidered into it to show off your prestige and the new order which you have as a group found. So, as the coming of the new Dawn Guard, and by the way, that is what you have been referred to as by a lot of the people. They have gone out of their way to basically call you, hey, it's the Dawn Guard, it's the new Dawn Guard. And that has been, in no small part, also pushed forward by, say, Commander Bale, who is using you as kind of a propaganda tool, for lack of a better term.
That's messed up.
Saying that, hey, things are getting better. We were in this huge downswing. The Kingdom of Dariel was having horrible times. Things were really terrible. And now they're starting to get better after that huge crash and the influx of undead that happened. But now there's reports coming in that the rotting hills themselves are starting to recede. Ever so slowly, but they're starting, the activity of the undead there is calming down, and basically all of this favor is being put upon you because I don't think you've been going out of your way to say that you didn't do this.
Oh no, I would pretty much tell everybody that I did exactly what I did, and that was be amazing, and probably save the world, and many damsels in distress,
Right.
and most of my friends, minus a hand or two.
Right. So basically, you are relatively famous in the area, and people are, I wouldn't say necessarily bending over backwards, but they've definitely been very generous and thankful for what you've done. So while not necessarily providing you with a discount, they are pushing you up the queue when it comes to getting your new clothing.
Fancy pants.
Fancy
Faster.
pants. The tightest of pants.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Elliot, you've had a few weeks as well to basically meander around town, take care of what needs to do, help out where you can.
I would have waited until all three of my friends are doing something by themselves.
Sure.
And then I would go off to talk to Bale.
I apologize, I'm having
Okay.
barely a cough.
Now, Bale has been available, sort of. He has been very busy because at the moment he has been semi-unanimously been named the steward of Kelenhall in lieu of a proper king to be brought forth.
Good. He deserves it.
Well, you say that, but basically every time you see him, it's like he's gained, another 5 years of his life, and he's just starting to show that the weight of that command is like, okay, I'll do this until we find someone better.
He needs like a tea tree oil steam or like a spa day.
Right. So he's not at your beck and call for the most part, but when he is available, he does try to swing by and, talk with you for a little while before being ushered off by a small army of aides that follow him around and remind him
Oh no, an army of aides!
Yes, indeed. The adjuncts and scholars and various other people, the diplomats who are trying to make sure that everything doesn't fall apart, are reminding him of all of his duties. So we will say that as we're getting on towards the 2 or 3 weeks in, Elliot, you're able to find a time to go and have a quick meeting with Bale as he's overseeing the construction of a new wing of the guard barracks as they're bringing in a bit more numbers to the militia.
Hello, Mr. Bale.
Yes, hello, Elliot. What can I do for you?
I would like to tell you kind of what happened during that adventure.
I suppose so. Is this going to take long? He motions at the construction happening and the several people behind him who are currently scribbling things and looking at him impatiently.
A little bit.
And I received your report from earlier. I understand some of what happened, but is there something important? Is there something that I need to know?
Well, it is my belief that with the armors being found and being reactivated, we are dealing with something far greater than what I could ever think of.
He nods,
I think what we're going to be having to deal with is a resurgence of the war.
He looks concerned and nods gravely. Yes, that is certainly the worst case scenario. If someone is truly gathering up the pieces of the armor of the son of Bane, there's no other reason I can think of rather than wanting to start the war.
Of Ascension again.
Yes.
I think that if that is the case, we need to get started immediately on returning an alliance between the countries, rebuilding those bonds. It's the only way we can survive.
I agree wholeheartedly. And he glances over his shoulder at one of the diplomats who's standing near him, who, overhearing, just nods. And he says, is your intention to travel to these lands and to...
Of course, starting with Anra'Lathan. I figured I'd have the most sway in that particular country.
Understood. At this point, one of his aides comes up and whispers something into his ear. And he looks annoyed for a moment, nods, and says, I've just been informed that we do have a caravan that is heading to Silverhill, which should be on your way if you're traveling that way. If you were to travel with them, perhaps that could give you a degree of safety on the road.
I think that'll be good, especially since if what we think is true, the Green Tide might be more active than we were thinking. It'd be good to have us there to protect that caravan.
Understood. The caravan leaves tomorrow morning.
Oh.
If you are readying your things, I mean, this is perfect timing, really, if you're able to go. If not, you'll be able to catch up with them fairly quickly. Caravans don't move necessarily very fast. It's only a couple carts worth of supplies for Silverhill to perhaps bring them back to fighting strength in hopes of defending us from opportunists, as it were.
True. One more thing.
Yes, anything.
I believe the city needs a little bit more fun.
He looks kind of confused for a moment, looks around.
Like a vegetable?
Does it?
And then I snap my fingers, the sound of a door opens, and I walk through a door and disappear.
Okay. Very well. Then you aren't there to be able to see the look of shocked horror that appears on Bale's face for just a few moments.
I think he felt it in his heart.
You might get a quick glimpse of it as you step back through the door and disappear. Just this look of, oh gods, oh no.
To the bell tower.
I'm assuming you dimension door away and
Yes.
You make your way back to your group?
No.
Oh.
I head to the Nobles District, looking for a nice spa day.
Okay, so you go have a nice spa day. Okay, very well. So as you all gather that evening, after your spa day, after you've spent your days doing whatever it is you do,
Dance.
you've made your way back to the inn, and sure enough, there is your group. You know, you all meet back up, you sit at your table, your food is brought over with your drinks, and the innkeeper comes over and puts down a small scroll and says, this was left for you earlier.
Hey, pick up this scroll.
Okay. You open it up, and or do you open it up?
I opened it up.
Okay. Inside, in a nice, elaborate, flowy script, are the words from Wilf explaining that he has overheard from a little bird that he will be headed off to the northeast soon, and that...
I see nothing.
I read this.
Okay.
Over my shoulder.
Yes.
I'm
I read
holding
this to
it.
Lindo.
I got this.
You
This one
haven't-
is an A.
You haven't been learning by reading your Thorn Manville Hammer?
This is a
Novels?
no.
There's no pictures.
This one is a the.
That's fair. That's fair.
This one is Wolf's name.
It's also in script.
Also true.
I can read at least 4 of these things.
Whereas Thor Manvelhammer is block letters. Yes.
And
They're very large.
pictures.
And there are pictures.
Woodcuts.
Ooh, the artistry.
So, Jaxom.
Yes.
The note is stating that Wilf is going on ahead. At this point, you haven't actually heard any of what's happening, but Wilf apparently has left you a note stating that he's overheard that you'll be headed to Silverhill, and then he'll meet you there.
That is so magical. How did he do that?
We're headed to Silverhill?
Of course.
Of course.
Yes. Did you not forget we've spoken about this before?
Did we speak about this before?
Yes.
Okay, we have spoken this before.
It's been a while.
I guess Wolf's going to meet us there.
Good. Do you remember our conversation with Lyle?
Personally, no.
With the
Character,
bard?
most likely, yes.
Yes, the bard.
The skinny one?
Yes, the same one.
The short one?
Well, we have 2 of those.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
The one with the less pointy ears.
Ah, yes. Uh-huh. No. Yes.
He was in the church town.
Right, and we were supposed to have him talk with a lady who was, I think...
We did that.
Yep, and
Yeah,
the
we did that.
librarian.
Yeah, but we also had a conversation about places of interest for the Dawn Guard. The previous one.
That's right.
And they had a base up near Silverhill, and I would like to go check it out before we go to Anra'Lathan.
Thank you, Liar. Liar?
Lyle.
Liar.
Wrong bard.
I'd be a
Right.
bard if I wanted to.
You try.
La 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 la. Beautiful.
So, it's fairly easy to gather your things. You've had plenty of time to prepare for your journey. So, you're basically ready to go first thing the next morning, to which a runner comes and informs you that the southern gate of Kelenhall is where the caravan will be leaving, heading south on the road, and it'll be a 4-day journey to Silverhill.
Did you
South on the
exfoliate?
road.
Your hair is so soft.
Aren't we going north?
Technically, you have to go slightly south, and then the road hooks up
Okay.
to the east, towards northeast. It's, more east than north, but whatever.
Yeah.
Directions.
There's a map.
The cardinal.
There used to be a map, right?
Are you a cardinal now?
No.
Here.
Directions are cardinal.
I see.
Didn't there used to be a map right here?
Right. At one point, I believe there was a map.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So you gather your things, everything you need for your journey, and you make your way to the southern gate. Upon reaching there, you will see 3 wagons covered up, everything lashed down to protect it from inclement weather.
Shotgun.
Each one seems to have one of the guards of Kelenhall seated at the reins. The one in front, though, has 2 familiar faces. On it is the tall, lithe half-orc that you were introduced to as Sergeant Anders.
Okay.
And the small tiefling man, a halfling man, that one. Halfling, not tiefling. You know what I mean?
Tiefling or
No, halfling.
half?
Halfling man. Tillman. Who, upon seeing you, Tillman energetically waves, and Anders turns, nods.
And energetically wave back.
Hey, over here. Hey.
Hello, I'm right
Hey.
here.
Yes.
Oh.
We see you.
Yeah. Bale said he was going to be sending some people. I suppose it makes sense that it would be you. Ready for the journey. It should be fairly simple, I suppose.
Yes, I, Lindo, Espina, the beautiful Thorn, and my merry men will come and join us. You. You.
Mary. I see. All right.
Yeah, like happy,
Right.
gaily,
Yes. Fair enough.
excitable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shall we go?
Yes.
Anders just nods, cracks the reins, and off you go.
Mount up and head out.
Yep. So, leaving town right early in the morning, the weather a little overcast, little bit of light rain, but nothing too bad. Gray skies, the fields themselves. You've noticed the grasslands south of Kelenhall have actually been a little bit brighter, and it seems like the grass is getting a bit of its luster back. The trees seem a little bit greener as you're kind of moving in towards spring. So the journey itself, again, will take about 4 days. And as you head south, only a few hours, you reach the turning point in the road where you could either head south towards Blightwatch or head off to the east towards Silverhill. And you round about and start making your way there.
Okay.
You guys are... Jaxom, you have your own horse.
Yep.
There are 2 horses for each cart. But again, you'll either be riding on one of the carts yourself or walking alongside. They're not moving at a more than a walking pace. So, pretty easy.
I sit on a cart.
I sit up with Anders and Dillman, and I bring out my guitar because Wilf is not here, so obviously somebody has to sing.
Sure.
And I sing them ballads of our mighty journey, mostly about myself.
Okay.
I am amazing.
Every so often, Tillman throws in an extra verse.
Oh, yeah, Tillman, my man.
And he's not bad. He's got a decent voice, but the lines he adds are usually things like just, oh yes, Lindo, the Espina, the beautiful Thorn, he went and did this thing, and Tillman would add something like that, but oh, if only he could read, or...
Yeah, if only I could read.
And every other line, he adds something a little snarky about each person. Anders keeps a straight face through most of it, not quite all of it. But during your first day of travel, they explain that the goods you are transporting are supplies, food, things like that for Silverhill itself, which, for those of you who haven't been that direction, which would be Lindo, probably, actually all 3 of you probably have not gone as far as Silverhill. It's not really on the beaten path. You would have to be heading up to Kazdolatar for any reason, basically, to get up there. And it's not the safest place in the world.
Different route than to Coleman's Rest.
Yeah. Coleman's Rest would be directly north out of town and basically straight up.
All right.
So as you're headed that way, so they explain Silverhill, because they've both been there a handful of times, that Silverhill is the kind of last bastion before you hit the mountains, which right around that area is relatively safe because the dwarves have some of their guards and their soldiers do patrols out there. Silverhill itself does a lot of patrolling, but basically any further north or any further east or south, and you are in the territory that is still teeming with orcs and goblins and giants that were pushed back during the war 50 years ago, but never fully went away. So raids are somewhat common out there. It's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of other towns out this direction. Mm. So small settlements here and there. And as you're traveling, you'll actually see small areas where there'll be small, walled in settlements.
Many small things.
Not much more than maybe 3 or 4 houses together, but with farmland around them, they just kind of clump together for safety. But what you notice as the first day passes and the second day starts, you're starting to see ruins. What look to be old roads, signposts, walls that are crumbling and overgrown, things that have just been taken over by the wilderness around you, just because it's not safe enough to come out and try to rebuild on those old settlements.
Okay.
So your travel for the first 2 days is relatively quiet. At night, they kind of bring the wagons in tight and you all kind of get inside. They put on a fire, cook, and
set watches.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not a lot is required of the 3 of you, per se, just because there are a lot of the Kelenhall guard here.
Are we required to take a watch?
They say you can certainly do one if you want.
Do we want to do a watch?
Of course.
No.
Oh. I am
It's
kind
your
of like
personal choice.
a neutral land. Right about now.
Right. Anders stays, again, mostly quiet for a lot of it, but at one point he does speak up saying that he's looking forward to seeing Marshal Donovan again. And Tillman gives a nod. Yeah, that old son of a bitch. It'll be great. Real great.
Well, why will it be great?
Marshal Donovan he's a fun guy, really. He's,
Is that the mushroom joke? Is he a
no.
mushroom?
No.
Because Wilf made a joke once about the mushroom man.
You never heard of Cyrus Donovan?
I have not heard of many things.
That'd be a history roll for the two of you. Lindo, you'd be at disadvantage if you rolled that.
I'm going to think real hard. I'm not going to lie. I am amazing.
19.
19.
I rolled a 20, which I cannot use. And I rolled a 17 plus my history, which is -1.
Right.
So I roll for a 16.
A 16, okay.
10.
And a 10, okay.
Wait. It's coming to me. It's coming to me. Go.
So, Jaxom,
Yes.
you would recognize the name of Marshal Cyrus Donovan, who was considered to be one of the heroes of the war 50 years ago. He's a tall, stately, high elven man who marshaled a lot of the forces and actually held Silver Hill against some of the worst attacks. He's well respected amongst the dwarves as well, because some of the fighters that were there bolstering from Khaz-Dolatar actually ended up following his command when their commander was killed during the fighting.
Quite a feat.
Yeah, and he basically, after the war, decided that he was just going to stay on in Silver Hill and man the defenses and stay in the keep there to keep Dariel safe, and has not left that city since. So he has a little bit of renown as being an excellent fighter and a very tactically sound commander.
Do you reiterate these names?
Of course.
Lindo, you would have heard the name Cyrus Donovan because he's at least said to be very pretty.
He is a bar conversation.
Yes.
Aha.
That's where you would have picked up that information.
I'd be like, hello, ladies, and be like, you know Donovan.
Right.
And they would say, who's this Donovan? And then they would tell me about them, and then they go on and on and on. And in the middle of your conversation, I would just leave.
Right. Yes. You have probably heard the name, but it was uninteresting for the most part.
Some guard in a backwater town. Why do I care?
Yeah, pretty much. That sort of thing.
Because he is prettier than me.
Still don't care, Mr. Lindo.
Obviously, something
Still
I
don't care.
So, aside from that, there's a little conversation from some of the guards that have met him, and then there's some back and forth about how he's just, he's a haughty bastard with a stick up his ass. There are those who are saying, well, no, he's a brilliant military commander. How could you say that about him? And then Tillman rattling on about how, he's so pretty that he charmed the orc chieftain into stopping their attacks. And,
Gads, he must become my mentor.
To which Anders just glares at Tillman until Tillman stops talking, which takes about an hour.
That is a long glare. Is he okay?
No.
You have a headache?
Always.
That explains some things.
As he looks at Tillman when he says that.
Does it mainly throb when Tillman's mouth is moving?
Just
That's
a
what I
knowing
thought.
nod and a glare. 1,000-yard stare, nod. Mm-hmm.
That I've seen some shit face.
Yeah.
Seen some, heard some. Yeah.
Right. So throughout that next day, the travel, the rain starts to let up, sun peeks through. Generally, everything is pretty easy going. That's when you get to the second day of travel. It's when you start getting into some of the more war-torn land itself. The small walled settlements disappear. You're only seeing ruins and copses of trees where you can just make out what might have been a signpost pointing in the direction of small towns. the names are far too gone to read out accurately. And there are historians who remember each and every one of these little towns, but at this point, even 50 years, they're no longer around. The people have run off or have been killed. And as you're starting to make your way uphill, because Silver Hill is towards the is kind of in the foothills of the Anvil Peak Mountains, is when you're starting to see signs of battlefields themselves. As one particular time, as you're about midday getting ready to break, you stop at the top of a rise, and beyond you see the valleys ahead, and one hill per se that you can see, maybe only like a couple thousand feet off to the side, you see what looks to be a scattering of, at first you would think small growth trees, but the longer you look, you're noticing little glints of metal as there's almost a hillside entirely covered in discarded weapons and armor left over on the battlefield.
Hey,
Yes?
are those more zombies?
No. Thank goodness.
No, this is the remnants of a battlefield.
Perception check, Elliot.
Oh, yes, sure. 14.
14. Lindo mentions about a zombie, and you're like, oh no. You look out there, and you catch a glimpse of what looks to be something that you've seen before, even somewhat recently.
Mm-hmm.
You make your way over, you kind of jump down off the cart, run over, and you find scrawled into the dirt and etched into parts of the stone there what looked to be an old magic circle. And it looks very reminiscent of some of the stuff you had seen in the Rotting Hills and what Kavros Eldith was using in some rituals. And as you start looking around, you see bits and pieces of what probably were undead. So where bones and more complete skeletons where there shouldn't be, meat that has just still rotting, that looks like all magic that has animated them has just bled out and gone.
Oh,
I get off the
gross.
cart and I go check on Elliot. What you find?
It looks like our friend Mr. Kavro did raise these guys at one point in time, or at least somebody did.
That is disgusting. But why are they still sticky?
The magic's bled. There's no magic left.
Oh, because of all that things that we did, yes?
Maybe, or maybe not. I don't know, but we should burn these bodies.
But bodybuilding smells so bad.
Don't worry. Come on. Follow me. We'll do it quick.
Yep.
You're able to gather up the remnants of it, and it doesn't take you very long. But as you're doing so, you definitely get the feeling that these were probably animated by Seldith or one of his followers in an attempt to gather up forces to the east of Kelenhall. But whatever it was that happened, perhaps what you guys did down in the Rotting Hills, might have just removed all of the residual necrotic energy that was keeping them around. And as you can see, there, it looks like that's the case around all of these battlefields. Small spots where things had been attempted to be raised, and all of the magic has just gone.
We're very lucky we stopped that. Now we were going to have a full-scale undead invasion if we didn't.
Would
That is
not have
sticky.
been good. Could have been a fun workout, but would not have been good.
I'm just really not fond of the undead. Like, they smell funny, they are sticky, they're terribly unfashionable. Except for that king guy, he was pretty okay.
No, he was not.
I don't know, I think his clothes were on point.
You guys end up making camp right on that ridge in view of these battlefields. So you have plenty of time to go around and gather whatever you wish to give final rest to any of the bodies you find.
Fireball.
Explosively giving final rest.
That's one way to do it.
What's up, Lindo?
In the opposite direction of which Elliot is pointing and fireballing, I would like to loot the bodies.
Okay, go ahead and make me a, what is it, investigation?
Yeah. What is it? You want the investigation? Okay, 19.
Okay.
And by 19,
I mean, at 20, but I'm not smart.
Right.
so not 20.
So you start looting and looking around to see if there's anything of value to be found.
Looting the bodies, putting in the rest,
Making your way off to the side of the road, you note that nearby here would have been a settlement, and you can see the old kind of construction, the short stone walls that are still kind of partially standing but mostly covered in moss.
Mm-hmm.
And as the caravan is actually starting to make camp in some of those ruins,
mm-hmm.
you make your way off to the side to see if there's anything to be found.
Mm-hmm.
To where vast majority of everything you're finding is rusted, pitted, broken,
Nope.
blood-stained, but ancient. Well, ancient as of 50 years ago, really.
Ancient and grumbling.
Yeah. Anything of value here has already been picked up and looted by people far longer ago than you.
This nat 20 was wasted on dirt.
That happens every once in a while.
20 dirt.
But as you are making your way through in the crumbling ruins of what was, probably someone's home or business, you end up kind of kicking over a stone, and underneath it, you see kind of a glint of metal in the dying sunlight.
Oh.
And you reach down and you actually pull out a small metal box that has it was hidden under this stone. Looks like it's been there for a long time.
I observe the box. I smell the box.
It smells like dirt.
I open the box because I'm going to open it before I taste it.
Okay. You pop up the top, and whatever was holding it together, and maybe a lock has long since rusted away, and it literally cracks as you open it. But as you do so, inside you see what looks to be a small silver key that doesn't really have anything nearby that looks like it would go to. Looks to be a couple small gemstones and a child's doll. Very small one.
Okay.
Looks like
One of these things is disgusting, and it is not the key or the gems. You decide.
Right.
Okay, so I pocket the gems.
Yeah.
And I shrug about the key, and I put it in my bag alongside of that twisted symbol of Paylor I have from Zugtug.
Okay.
It just joined in my pocket.
Yeah. Aww.
You leave me alone. Leave me alone. And then I don't know. Maybe I saved this doll for Wilf to hide in his bag later.
Okay.
I hide this doll.
So you put the doll away and...
I put it in my bag.
Okay. Jaxom, you doing anything while Elliot starts fires with his mind and Lindo loots family heirlooms?
I am doing last rites as well, and setting fire where needs to be.
Okay. Luckily, there's not a ton.
Yeah.
The ones you find were, looks like they were set to guard or set to basically hold until they were ordered to attack, but never got the order and eventually just fell down. So you're able to take care of that fairly early in the evening, and that's when you guys end up going back and resting, relaxing, and having meals with the soldiers. And Tillman sits back and asks if Lindo would you be willing to play some music? I have a story to tell.
Oh, you have a story to tell.
I do.
Good, because I am all out of stories. I sing them all on the way here. Okay. I pull out my guitar.
Okay.
And I start to play.
All right. Go ahead. Roll me a perform there.
7 plus 8.
15. All right. Yeah.
It's not my best.
You play some background music as he starts to tell a story of the battle, the battle that happened on the field nearby. He tells a story of one of the larger encounters that happened when some of the Orcish horde had actually swept past Silverhill. Instead of taking on the keep itself after keeping it under siege for nearly a month, the army decided to break for Kelenhall, and their number 10,000 strong swept across that field. But by the time they had gotten right there in the valley, and he points off to where the kind of the deeper valley parts were, he says that Marshal Donovan had kept a reserve force of some of his strongest fighters, including himself. And they had escaped the siege to position themselves where he thought the most beneficial place to be was. And he goes to tell this story fairly well, better than I can tell with my abilities, about the epic battle of the heroes that fought, the villains that died, the army that was stopped by only about 2,000 troops as they hid in the valley and sprung their attack. As the orcs came up over the hill, the valiant heroes fought them all the way back up that hill and then pushed them over the rise on the other side, crushing their advance and pushing them back so that the supplies needed, just like the supplies being brought there now, could make it to Silver Hill and break the siege. So...
Hot damn. It's a good story.
He says that I was told that. I was told that very story by Marshal Donovan himself, because he was there. So you know it's true.
There are many stories that I have told about the things that I have seen, and I will promise you, not all of them are true.
That's entirely fair. I'm assuming you lie all the time.
Occasionally, you
Yes.
know, on whimsy.
But Marshal Donovan, he doesn't lie. I will tell you that. Anything that man tells you, the truth. It's like he's allergic to lying. Or
Is that a
subtlety.
Are you able to?
Well, I mean,
Are you able to
beyond
look at
being
the
a
light?
military genius, he doesn't... You know what I mean.
Do we?
No.
No, he's a very blunt man.
Oh, because there is a man that was military, and he wasn't subtle either because he went like this. Ah, ha, ha, ha. And then he was very large.
Tillman tips his head. Huh? Anders shudders. Looks off into the middle distance and drinks his soup.
I mean, when I think not subtle, that man was... he was not subtle.
It's almost like the laugh is heard echoing over the hills for a brief moment.
I did not think I impressed myself. I did not think that was that loud. Did you get shivers?
Yeah. But I'm made of ice.
So, just be sure when you meet him, he's a hero. He's done a lot for these lands. So, just keep that in mind. Just, you'll be okay.
What? I feel like this is like a mild threat.
I would never threaten you.
No. That's just...
No, never.
He's subtle.
I'm giving you advice on how to deal with a very powerful man who is very blunt and doesn't lie.
Tillman? Subtle?
I'm subtle as the wind blowing through the trees.
Yeah.
I look over at
Anders.
Anders.
Who at this point has continues drinking his soup.
It's like he carries a lie detector or something. A detector
Of
of
bullshit?
lies.
That's okay, you carry one too. It's that one.
The bear?
No.
You mean Wilf?
Don't you say got to my bear.
Right. Anders looks over. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And for the rest of the evening, the rest of the soldiers just tell, stories about what they've been through, what they've been going on, all of that. Nothing really worthy of the epic tale of battle that Tillman spun for you. So, as you wake up and start making your way through the next day, as the funeral pyres in the background all burn down, your last rites have been said, rest has been gained, and as you start making your way off on a brand new day, your third day of travel on your way to Silver Hill, that is where we will end for intermission.
All right.
So thank you.
Intermission.
Stick with us.
We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, and we will see you here shortly for the second half of our live stream. So use the restroom, grab yourself some food, all that wonderful jazz.
Indeed.
We'll see you soon.